Hey everyone, and welcome back. I hope that you are feeling really well as we are moving so strongly into the energy of Cancer season and eventually towards Leo season at the end of July. I'm really happy to be here talking to you about the comprehensive intuitive messages surrounding the month of July, as well as some of the astrological events that we will be having. And I'll give you some of the downloads that I've received as an intuitive, encompassing the totality of July as a month, which is a super imperative month in our year cycle of 2020. This is one of the few, about 4 months out of the year that truly activates one of the most potent, one of the most overarching transits that we're having this year, which is the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto conjunct in Capricorn, which is currently retrograde, and all of that will be retrograde for all of this month. I've done individual videos about each of those retrogrades. If you'd like to check below in the description box or in the top right hand corner, you can get more insight there. But as this is Cancer season, we are going to be dealing exactly with this axis. The Cancer-Capricorn axis in astrology will be completely represented, and it will also be offset by Chiron in Aries as well. So the orb is not exact, but there is a bit of a T-square coming in this month, which if it were a little bit more exact and a bit more an orb, it would be a much more direct T-square, but Chiron will be turning retrograde, so we will be dealing with those implications too, as well as Neptune turning retrograde and being retrograde throughout all of July. Luckily, we will be having Venus moving direct and Mercury, of course, moving direct as well. So we won't have, every single planet being retrograde this month like we nearly do have that. But we will sort of see, I think, throughout July, certain things that we thought were problems or certain things that we expected to be issues, I think will just kind of subside. And also there will be new ideas or I don't want to say new problems, but new things that kind of we didn't expect to see will definitely kind of expose themselves now. There is a sense of exposure with this energy, like seeing the light, seeing all of the faces around you, really seeing the truth behind certain events as well. As I find this energy to be quite honest, or it at least tries to be quite honest. The sacred geometry that is created, especially towards the latter part of Cancer season, where there will be true opposition between the Sun and the triple retrograde conjunction of Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto, we'll get a really nice spotlight with the Sun onto what the Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto retrograde is representing for all of us. It's going to be a little bit different for every person, depending on what house it's in and depending on your own build up to this time. But I find the month of July to be one of the most illuminating, most exquisite energies to figure out the question, okay, to answer a question, to solve a problem, to see the truth behind something. This is such a bright, shining month, especially again on that Cancer and Leo cusp, because Leo season always is about, lighting things up. It's about sunlight. It's about really breaking the shadows with the sun. And Cancer season at the end will also do this just by opposing the Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto triple retrograde conjunction. So what does that mean? Again, as I said, it's different for every individual. But for everybody, I think that anything that's holding you back or anything that is blocking your progression or blocking your new vision, that's going to really be seen for what it is. Okay, so blockages, any type of obstacle, any type of blockage, any type of structure that has become too unwieldy or too overzealous will really be seen for what it is. I also think it will be very difficult to sugarcoat any difficulties that come up at this time. Like you might see that a relationship kind of deteriorates a little bit during July, and what would be difficult with this transit is to kind of sugarcoat that or make that into something much more flowery than it is. Like, oh, they just need their time, or oh, they just need, to say whatever they want to say, when in reality there's a negligence or a meanness about it, which would be really hard to sugarcoat or really hard to turn into something nice. So That can be hard because we kind of want niceness right now. We want nurturing. Always during Cancer season, it's good to pursue any type of tranquil healing, self-nourishment, self-nurturing. But with these blockages being really exposed or really illuminated, there is maybe a pain or a friction. And I would say this is really one of the only difficulties of this month, where we kind of just want things to be soft and simple, clean and easy. And if there are things that are not that, it's not going to be spun as that, basically. So what a great time for refuge. What a great time for building up your own solidarity to yourself, or your own environment really being able to be much stronger for you in the month of July, I think is something wonderful. Also, as you're moving into July, one of the things that I feel really strongly is that this time kicks off a new goal or a new path. This is a very, very cardinal energy that we're working with Jupiter, Saturn, Pluto, Chiron, and the Sun, Mercury, and soon followed by Venus, all being in cardinal signs. What this means is that things are not really going to stay the same, okay? This is not going to be a maintenance or a just same old type of energy. We do deal with ancestry and legacy with the Cancer Capricorn axis, but how does that progress? How does that become something modern or become something wieldable? So what I will say about July is you do want to see some amount of change. Sometimes we can get a little bit mixed up about status quo or mixed up about what we need to maintain, because there is maintenance within the Cancer archetype, like keeping things up, keeping things solid, keeping things secure, keeping things mature as well with the Capricorn energy. But in order to maintain that, it feels to me that there has to really be a shift or a snap into place of some kind of broken or out of alignment aspect of our lives. And I think just to maybe put things back into function, or just to feel like things are functioning well again, is enough of a shift or a change to really honor how much we need shifts and changes. So what I think there's a really good opportunity for in July is to really start to align the gut instincts, okay, this inner feeling of solidarity and stability, really aligning that with your path now. Okay, really feeling a momentum behind you about the linear path forward during Cancer season, at least. And as we move into Leo season at the end of the month, there might be more of a desire to now, fixate and stay still in some way, as Leo is a fixed sign. But that will also pass very quickly and perhaps even seem a bit out of alignment as we then move into Virgo season, which activates the Capricorn again and makes it more mutable again. So the progression that we might all be tied up in during this month is really, I think, getting us to Virgo season and really getting us to a new place of change and a new place of resilience, and finally really forging an identity. That to me feels like the progression that we're in from Cancer season to Leo season to Virgo season. These 3 months are about the final forging of an identity, the final commitment to a certain path, the really consolidated ability to provide your energy for yourself and impact your own progression forward. So yes, are we dealing with ego? Absolutely. Absolutely a very egoic time, especially towards the end of July and moving through August. By the end of August, I think we will feel a good, healthier version of ego. But what I can say is that we want to kind of, I don't want to say play things safe, but keep things small-ish. Try to not go overboard. Try to not overwork yourself. Try to not really blaze into these new ideas that might be coming up this month. Try to keep it safe and simple and figure it out and solve problems, because what we are dealing with here is solutions, okay? There are solutions in the month of July, like really, really sacred solutions. I'm clapping my hands because I feel so strongly that this is a time of solutions. But also when we get egocentric with solutions, it can be about, look at me solving instead of the actual solution. So do watch out for that. But as the actual solutions come in, you can have a very, very incredible ending period to any, what do I want to say? Any chaos or discord that you are really struggling with can really just kind of dissipate off. Just kind of walks right out as you discover simple solutions this month. So something that I want to talk about next is a really neat symbol and download that I got about a week and a half ago. I mentioned this a little bit on Patreon, which I will link below and in the top right-hand corner if you'd like to sign up for my Patreon. I talked about how we're having a kind of a big shift in consciousness and a strong need to sort of see our own strategic ways in a more evolved way. So what I had felt, I got a very clear symbol of seeing a chessboard, So say you're playing chess. And what I kind of felt was coming from, the beginning of June and end of May, actually, was a lot of focus into one piece on the chessboard, okay? The queen, the most powerful piece being this, center focus. And as we focus on this one piece, all of our other pieces are just, being decimated, But we have this one piece and we're relying on this one piece. And perhaps it can really be a strong element of our strategy. But I kind of feel that July changes this up a little bit, where we're less focused in one piece and more focused into the larger dynamics at hand. Understanding the formations, understanding the patterns, understanding the artistic sort of, again, formation of all the pieces as a stronger strength than the queen piece, for example, which in chess is the most capable, most, versatile piece in chess. So now, rather than just focusing on the queen, I feel that we are deriving more strength and power from all of our moves, all of our placements, all of our different dynamics with the other pieces. So this is really important, and it's the best analogy that I can kind of bring up for what I'm trying to get at, is that as we move more into a cardinal space and into this Cancer season, in order to understand the path forward, we have to really understand all the pieces that we're working with. Even, what we feel to be the lesser capable pieces, the pawns, the knights, the bishops, the rooks, the king, all of these pieces have to really be understood, and their placements even more so have to be understood, and what threatens them, what opposes them. And understanding not just where the queen is going to go next, or not just which piece is now going to prevent the checkmate, but also what other dynamics can maybe shift into place. So what does this mean in more layman's terms? It might be a really great time to reconsider certain other paths that you had. We're in Mercury retrograde in Cancer right as we move into July, which is really activating our minds into the past, like what has brought us comfort in the past, what has made us feel emotionally connected to goals in the past. So with these new pieces sort of being added into our strategic ideas, we can kind of maybe pursue more things or work on more things or find abundance, much more abundance in other pieces, while not then disregarding the queen piece either. Do you guys kind of get what I'm getting at? There's a more omniscient, more overhead view of your life that can come in here, where we're not just investing every single ounce of life force into these one pieces. Because what does that do? It then, if that piece then gets threatened, we don't have a lot of other things ready to still compensate or to still give us energy and ability. So what a great time to really understand the broader ideas of your current path and what might happen when you look at that, especially during such a structured time with all this Capricorn energy. You might kind of see that the other pieces are struggling, okay? And that's why this broader perspective is really important, because whereas the queen piece may be placed really well and have a lot of ability to do damage, every other piece might be in a threatening or struggling position. So that needs to be recognized before they're, confiscated or before they don't exist anymore, and now you have a queen against a full set, So that analogy to me is really important for this July, as we start to really get many different aspects of our life more in better placements, okay? Because as I keep saying, there's a sacred geometry about this time. It really locks things into place. It really clicks things. It really makes us feel a stronger connection to our efforts and to what we're doing. So for those of us who can really get in touch with purpose, or for those of us who can really take what we've accumulated and what we have done well with and now consolidate that with our purpose now, this is what sacred geometry looks like, and this is what true progress begins to look like in our lives. And to just bring in another analogy, I guess, about games, we have like the sort of like the Rubik's Cube finally clicking into place. And what does it take to have that? What does it take to have that feeling of a click? It does take tranquil space. So that's one other thing that I've been talking about for this time, is the emergence of an empty space, or the emergence of something that needs to be filled, okay? Cancer energy is always about empty space. So let's talk a little bit about Cancer season specifically, and about the sign of Cancer. So this is the 4th house. This is the deepest part of the zodiac wheel, right on the IC. Cancer deals with the deepest point, the most empty point to a degree. Pisces does too in the 12th house, but it's kind of a different kind, more of a void versus an emptiness. There is a difference between void and emptiness. Whereas Cancer represents this certain emptiness. It's like, the energy of the womb. Something eventually fills this emptiness, and something with a lot of life eventually fills this emptiness, because it's still in a very youthful part of the zodiac. So yeah, a lot of us are conceiving new ideas now, conceiving new plans, conceiving new things, which we know, and we see the potential, and we see how great these things could be for us, but they have not come to fruition yet, okay? So Cancer season does ultimately, I feel, need to be a gestalt phase for what we want out of life, okay? It might not be birthed into the world right now, but now is the time where we're nourishing it, where we're making sure that we're healthy enough to be able to manifest these very real and very possible structures into our lives. So yes, ultimately, we need tranquility right now. Okay. July of 2020, I cannot impress on you how important some amount of tranquil, empty space is. Okay. Being by water is even better. Getting some amount of sunlight, wonderful. There are a lot of theories that talk about how damaging UV light can be, and of course it can. Anything as powerful as the sun can be deadly and lethal as well, but do not avoid the sun, okay? Everything in moderation, of course, but to avoid the sun is to also deny yourself of a very potent form of energy, a vitamin. Interestingly, I don't remember what the exact percentage is, but there's a large percentage of people that die mysteriously who have like a vitamin D deficiency. So yes, the sun, without sunlight, it's absolutely as vital as, water or food or anything like that. It calibrates our immune system, okay? So with the health implications we've had, that could be important as well. It cleanses, okay? It kills bacteria and virus. It calibrates the immune system. So to get sunlight right now is very, very important, especially as we're moving toward Leo season as well. So some time in tranquil outdoor space, if you have the luxury of being near that, would be absolutely wonderful. But if you don't have that, make it happen inside, cultivate a nice interior space for yourself where you do feel healthy. Citrus fruit also has the energy of the sun too. So lemon and orange and anything like that will also be wonderful, especially, getting close to Leo season, as Leo rules over citrus fruits. So these are all sort of simple, mundane things, but that's really where it starts with Cancers. As we move from Cancer to Leo to Virgo, there is a more mundane, more small things that make, small choices that make bigger experiences, really starts up in July. So with that in mind, and knowing that we need to cultivate a healing type of space, a tranquil environment where healing is possible, what we will come up against very immediately as we step into that need is imposition, perhaps. Not for everyone. For those of us who have really worked on boundaries, who've really worked on discernment, We can just have this now, okay? But some of us will create this empty space just to have other people, knock on the door or call and need some kind of erratic, discussion within the empty space. Some of us will really feel like we're not getting the time away that we need, especially during the Mercury retrograde in Cancer that we had. It's a very kind of a shrill, matronly need for, neurotic and sometimes erratic discussions with Mercury in retrograde in Cancer. So as we're hopefully coming out with that, it will kind of force us to make healthy boundaries and to maybe have a very direct conversation with certain people in our lives saying, I'm just not available right now. The shop is closed. A lot of us need to kind of close for business during July too, which is an interesting thing. Not everyone, that's going to depend on different people, but I will say that now is not the time to be a workaholic. Okay, that time will come. That time will be before you know it, especially around Virgo season. I mean, things really seem to amp up into a much more productive energy by then. And some of us do need to be productive during Cancer season, moving or working as well, because the cardinal signs are definitively productive. But what Cancer always teaches us is that, because a lot of people don't recognize Cancer as a cardinal sign, it feels, it doesn't feel like a forward-moving energy. It's a sidestepping crab, it's all about rejuvenation, it's all about resting, it's all about coming back to the self, and a lot of people see that as more of a regressive energy than a progressive energy. But interestingly, it is a cardinal sign, which means that these times of coming back to ourselves, these times of rejuvenation and healing are forward motions in some cases. So maybe language kind of misconstrues this a little bit, where we think, okay, I'm coming back to myself, which means I'm moving in a backward motion, where in reality, maybe coming toward yourself or seeing these aspects of yourself or healing these things or making space to heal might actually be a very strong forward movement into understanding what you truly need, which elicits the catalyst for a certain change. So do you guys get the subtlety that I'm speaking of there in regards to the cardinal nature of Cancer, where we have to understand that these priorities or these new moves to build ourselves up or build our environments up, even though it might feel restful or it might feel like we're doing a bit less or just having more time to ponder, more time to rest, this could be ultimately one of the most forward things you've done with your life, to do that at this time. So I think that it's wonderful. And I don't think that you need to work yourself into a daze or you need to take way more work than you can handle, because you might, and for some of us, we have to do that. Okay, that is the case. With a triple retrograde Capricorn conjunction, many of us are working hard. That is true. But for those of us who don't have to, it could be really rewarding to keep things as simple as possible, to a point where you enjoy your own productivity. As I think that's what Cancer always wants, is for us to enjoy productivity, for us to feel that our productivity is healing and like it is something that is giving back and not just something we are aging ourselves to make happen and selling out all of this time just to feel like we have some amount of abundance, which might not even be that much more. Basically, healing these shackles. If you think of the Devil card in the tarot, a lot of us are going to really be working with that archetype during this July. With the retrograde Capricorn stuff, it's very much devil energy. Cancer illuminating that. Many of us will see shackles we did not even know was there, dealing with health, dealing with relationships, dealing with our own, how we shackle our own selves up and prevent ourselves from getting what we need. I'm hoping that a lot of shadow work will come in and sort of become light work, actually, where we have really illuminated it and we have really seen how we can get stronger and how we can move into much, much more solution-oriented, healthy boundary-oriented, healthily discerning energy, okay, experiences. So that to me feels like the breath of fresh air that Cancer season can be. Now, let me tell you guys something. What Cancer season can also be is polarizing opposition. Some of you guys might have already seen this, but you might have made a very healthy decision or a decision that you felt was very necessary, just to see that people were so against it or so upset or so. Again, in a sort of matronly way, being very against the healthy decisions of others. So you might have already come past that by now, but if you do experience that during Cancer season, it's kind of just a test from the universe, like how committed and devoted are you to this new thing that you want, or to these things that you're growing. Okay, where is that commitment? It kind of shows that very clearly too. So try to prioritize these healing, tranquil experiences that inspire your own forward movement and productivity, versus just being out to soothe people who are against you by becoming a pawn in their own games. So really important to understand that dichotomy and those choices this month. And as we're moving to the end of July, moving into Leo season, I think that it will be a good jolt of health for a lot of us, hopefully healing the body with Leo season. Leo season is not, and we'll talk more about Leo season in the August video, but we have a little bit of it here at the end of July too. The beginning of Leo season is just meant to sort of be a natural reintroduction. I feel it's not meant to be overwhelming. It's not meant to be, shooting off into the stars. Like it's at a quincunx again, so it will be a similar energy to what May and early June were like, and most of June actually. It will be a similar type of energy to the Gemini, except it'll be a little bit warmer and a little bit more, in a way it can be ruthless too, the Leo energy, but it's also very muted and blunted by the Capricorn. So people will basically watch out for people with ego problems is all I can tell you during Leo season, because the blunted or malnourished ego will be out to play during that time. So do be aware of that. But also what I think Leo season can be is the healing of the ego for a lot of people too. So we will be feeling that at the end of July too, like finally feeling like, okay, I don't have to be so concerned with how that person saw me, or with what those people's opinions are of me, or how I looked in that moment, because I do feel that's one thing that I do feel that Leo season is going to really potently try to teach us this year, is how to not prevent ourselves or stop ourselves from pursuing authenticity based on the opinions of other people. Ego deals so much with the opinions of other people. How are they seeing me? Like when people have an ego problem, they're very terrified of the opinions of others. So, yeah, it is what it is, but I think that we will have an opportunity to really heal that up towards the end of July. And the note that I want to end on regarding July as a month is that as a psychic, I can feel very clearly what this means and what this represents and how new of a territory many of us are in. I will say it's difficult to articulate, and it could be because it's Mercury retrograde as I'm filming this, but there's something very good. There's something very good about this time. Even though we are challenged, or there are like obstacles for many of us, there's something very good, okay? And we'll see perhaps evil in the world, or we'll see big, high shooting egos. We will see those things, but it's also very outside of the perspectives that we need to form. So there's something about it that really does not have as big of an effect on the individual as we think. These big egos that are around us, whether this is in your personal life, or in a dating life, or in your work life, wherever you're seeing or spotting these egos, I don't feel that it affects you as much as you might be afraid that it does. And I think that by overcoming that fear, you really bring into your life a wonderful period of benevolence and abundance. But what I'm trying to say, before I get lost in many words, is there is something about this time that's not really meant to be articulated. There's something about this time that's not really meant to be spoken, or not meant to be, what do I want to say? It's not really for me to determine. Okay, that's as best as I can put it. It's a very self-determined time, where the self is very empowered also during this time. And the Capricorn triple retrograde conjunction, certainly it does bring about weird issues with the self for people who've really been struggling, but also it does empower the self too. Is during Cancer season, it absolutely does. And yes, in difficult ways for some people, but also just very strong, statured, and structured ways of self-empowerment for others too. So don't let me determine it for you. Don't let anybody determine it for you. It's going to be very personal to your own experience, and it's going to be very determined by you yourself as well, what you experience here and now. So enjoy this opportunity, at least for that sake, because there's a great healing potential within that. But anyway, everyone, thank you so much for being here. I have been in the middle of a move. I have been so busy. I have been, going so fast every single day to keep up with YouTube and keep up with Patreon and keep up with all aspects of my work here, and at the same time be moving and doing all of that. So I do hope that you've enjoyed the content. If you would like to support this channel, you can definitely check out my Patreon page. If you've been considering that for a while, I would so appreciate if you were interested in signing up, because by now all of the July 2020 general tarot readings should be up on Patreon. They are early, ad-free, and extended readings. You get all of them, and pretty much all of the content for the lowest tier, which is $5 a month at this time. So it's a great value right now because I've really wanted to focus into that. And yes, so I will definitely link that below, and definitely leave me a comment. Let me know how this video resonated for you. Be sure to hit the thumbs up button, and you can subscribe to my channel. You can also hit the join button near the subscribe. That's another way to support the channel. I try to give different options because I know everybody has particular ideas about how they like to support creators. So you can do Patreon, you can hit the join button here on YouTube, you can just hit the like button or the subscribe button. That is always helpful as well. I am on social media, and I have an ebook called Moon Symbols, which I will link below if you're interested in healing your moon, as this is Cancer season. So it might be a wonderful time to look at your moon sign, the phase of the moon that you were born under, and how that all connects. I have that all in my ebook below. So thank you guys so much for listening to this video, and thank you so much if you would like to check out any of the other videos, also just watching other videos here on my YouTube channel, or checking out other things in my playlists is always supportive too. So thank you so much, everyone, and I'll be talking to you soon. Much love. I'll see you soon for the general readings here on YouTube, and yes, see you next week at 6 p.m. Pacific time, Fridays, for the live premiere. Much love. Bye.